Welcome. My name is Mary Bart, and I am the host for this podcast. Today, we are talking about how a house is more than just a home. As family caregivers, we have a lot on our minds and a lot of to do lists. For some, they may have parents or other loved ones who continue to live independently at home, yet they may struggle with the upkeep and maintenance of their homes. There is a lot of conversation about home safety and home help, yet there is very little that supports us as family caregivers to know what it takes to keep a house in good working order. Today, I am joined by registered home inspector David Wall of Pillar and Post. David will share some of his ideas about what it takes to keep a house in good working order. Welcome, David. Could you please share your ideas?
Hi, good morning, Mary. Thank you for inviting me. More and more people, want to stay in their houses absolutely as long as possible. So, let's talk about some of the things that they would look at and need to do to be able to do that. So, I'm a registered home inspector. I'm still doing home inspections, even though I'm 65 years old. So I'm in the same boat. You want to stay in the house as long as possible. So when I'm driving up to a property, or a caregiver's driving up to a property, they want to make sure it's well identified. So does it have the numbers on the house? Are there threats to their safety as far as steep hills, heavy traffic, those types of things getting to the house? Even before I would get out of my vehicle, I'm looking for things like overhead hydro wires. I'm looking for tree branches that overhang a house. So things that I would call threats to the house. If you have a lot of vegetation near the house, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to be fighting more mice, more spiders, more raccoons that like to come to that house for a bite to eat. So certainly on the outside, we're looking at things that could potentially threaten the house. The first thing that I would do when I get to a property is I just look up. Even before I'm looking for a place to put the ladder, and what's the condition of the roof? So am I missing shingles, or is it heavily curled? What's the general condition? So we would never recommend a homeowner to put a ladder up, but certainly from the ground, if you see that there's shingles on the ground, you see that the shingles curled, then there's a good chance that you're going to need a roof replaced. And it's not something that you can sit on. It's something that if your roof is leaking, you're going to have secondary damage in the house, whether that's in the attic or throughout the house from the roof down. The As you're walking up to the house, things like the condition of the deck, condition of the porch, hand railings, those types of things. I did a house inspection the other day where the steps are really wobbly. And maybe to a young person, wobbly steps aren't an issue. Nobody seemed to mention it, but me, when you got a wonky knee, certainly the steps are wobbling. It definitely is something that needs to be improved. So getting into the house, in and out safely on a timely basis is important. One of the things that you see in decor the odd time now is you'll see a spiral staircase. And I'll say to myself, okay, well that's great. When I'm young, I can go up and down a spiral staircase. But now that I'm 65, it takes me a little bit longer to get up and down a spiral staircase. And if I was on a stretcher, I'm not sure that's going to happen. So there's certainly things in a house that you would look at for your own safety and your own ability. The house that I did yesterday, I'm looking at the cladding on the house. So, and that can be brick, that can be siding, that can be ephes. There's all kinds of different sidings on a house. But you're looking for cracks. You're looking for areas where water can penetrate. But what caught my eye on the house was that there was a pile of sawdust at the corner of the house. So that told me I had a pest in the house. So whether that's carpenter ants or whether that's mice, or in this house could be a little bit of everything. But you're looking for entry points for water and mice in a house, kind of the same as the roof. What's the general condition of it, and where's that going to end up, and how's that going to cause me a problem in the house? When I'm walking into a house, and sometimes you get dumb at this on when you're walking in your own house, but when I'm walking in somebody's house, the first thing I'm trusting my nose. So am I smelling gas? Am I smelling oil? Am I smelling pets? Am I smelling plumbing? So all those issues, so those different smells that you might not smell in your house, you may think it's normal in your house. I've had lots of uh, people blame the smell on the cat box, and it's not. It's a gas leak. So natural gas doesn't have an odor to it. It's actually put mercaptan in it, so it smells like rotten eggs. But you'd be surprised, Mary, how many owners that I've been in their house and I've said, you have a gas leak in your house. No, no, that's the cat box. No, no, you have a gas leak in your house. You need to call the gas company. So there are detectors that you can get for things like natural gas. There are detectors that you can get for radon. There are obviously, you're required to have a smoke detector on every level of the house and a carbon monoxide detector where you sleep. But certainly some of those things that you never think about until it's a problem, and then, when you hear on the news that, okay, somebody died in a basement apartment and they didn't have any smoke detectors. Well, now that's a really big problem for not having, early warning systems in the house. So, when I get into a house, and once I've kind of satisfied myself that there's no smells that are going to hurt me or hurt the occupants, I'm looking at how's the house heated, how's the house cool, what's the HVAC system like. So I did a house the other day where it had several renovations in the house, and there were air ducts everywhere, but not all of them were. Not all of them were even hooked up. So I said to the client, let's turn the furnace on and see where we actually have air, right? We got a furnace, we know that it works. Go in the living room, there's air ducts in the living room, doesn't work. Go in the dining room, doesn't work. Kitchen, no ducts. Duct in the bathroom, no heat coming out of it. So there was a whole bunch of reasons why the heating ducts weren't functional. But as a caregiver, as going into somebody's house, you want to make sure that they're comfortable, you're comfortable. In the wintertime now, that the pipes aren't going to freeze because you have areas that are unheated in the house. I always tell my clients, when they're looking at, say, HVAC and it's more than 5 years old, it's out of warranty. Some of the big companies like Intercare and Reliance, they offer maintenance plans. We have one with at my daughter's house. So they offer maintenance plans. So you can sign up, and they're very reasonable. My daughter Shannon had a program with Reliance. It was $39 a month, covered the furnace, the air conditioning, and the plumbing. Believe me, she got her $39 every month. It was an older house. Something went wrong with that house every month. But because she had that maintenance plan, she was kind of a priority, and she knew who to call when there was a problem. So maintaining the HVAC, there's some things that you can do. So, changing the furnace filter seasonally, well, that's something that most homeowners can do. But other than that, the furnaces are so technological now that there's nothing that a home, there's no tinkering on a furnace anymore, so having a maintenance plan for your HVAC and even adding the plumbing on it, you can talk to Reliance and Enercare. I know there's other companies that will do it as well, but it's good value and it's good protection at a very reasonable price, and it gives you the ability to know who to call when things break, and they do, they're mechanical. Kind of going on that next stage with the plumbing. So where do you shut the plumbing off when things go wrong? Where's the main shut off? Does it have a handle? Do I need a wrench? Do I know the idea where it is? How do I turn off the water when things go bad? If you have a house that's got 4 bathrooms and one bathroom's not working that well, that's fine. You got 3 other bathrooms. If you're in a house where there's only 1 bathroom, you got to make sure that everything's working. The shower, the toilet, and the sinks, that all need to be working and all need to be not leaking. So again, knowing who to call, having a registry of a plumber or getting a maintenance plan, but, kind of setting up beforehand, who do I call, developing a little bit of a relationship with a plumber, with an HVAC contractor, or with a roofer, so that you know who to call, when there is a problem. The other thing with kind of trust your nose is if you walk into a house and you have kind of a bit of a fishy smell, that can be the precursor to an electrical problem. So as a home inspector, when I'm looking at a house, I mean, I'm going to, look in the electrical box and see, is everything overfused? If you have 30 amp fuses on 15 amp wire, you're just looking for problems. If you have extension cords, and it's men that are bad with this, where you have one extension cord off, another extension cord off, another extension cord, and I'll give you some leeway, at Christmas time with Christmas lights, but if you got an extension cord permanently off an extension cord, that's not an extension cord, that's wiring, and it needs to be corrected. So I find, women hire electricians to fix electrical, and guys, if it doesn't go bad, it didn't go bang, it's okay, and it's not. So, certainly there are devices out there now, like ground fault circuit interrupters. Those are the ones with the little buttons on them. You can put them near water, you can put them near, your bathroom, outside, that type of thing. And they have new ones, Mary, like there's what they call an arc fault detector. So on a new home, a lot of those are on bedrooms and things like that. So if something went wrong, it shuts off. So nobody gets a shock. If kids stick something in an outlet, nobody gets a shock anymore. They just trip off. So there's some technology out there that certainly can be helpful. In the basement, if I'm going down the stairs in the basement, again, I'm looking for what's going to hurt me. Are the steps in good shape? Is there a handrailing? Where am I going to land? When I get downstairs in the basement, I'm trusting my nose again. What am I seeing? If when I go downstairs in the basement, I'll take my shoes off, because the best moisture meter you got is on the bottom of your legs. So if you're stepping in moisture, if you're smelling moisture, then it's wet. You're going to have problems. And really in the basement, the secondary problems are going to be mold issues. So if you can smell mold or you can see mold, this is probably something you can't ignore, because some people are allergic to mold, but some people have really bad reactions to mold. And I find that the older that I get, the more that I'll have reactions in a mold condition situation. So, basement leaks rarely start in the basement. So most of those are to do with the outside. So have the eave troughs been cleaned? If I get a call from a client, the first thing we'll talk about is eave troughs. I'll say, well, why are we talking about eave troughs? Because it's my basement that's wet. I'm like, well, where do you think that water's coming from? The water's probably not coming from the basement, it's coming from the outside. So certainly eave troughs and downspout are an annual cleaning job. Making sure the grading, the gardens are away from the foundation, and the gardens are not right up on the brick cladding. So if the water's draining away, then it has less chance of coming in. If it's a foundation crack, well, maybe we need a guy to fix that crack. But the kind of subtle things that you're looking for, Mary, when you go downstairs are trust your nose, trust your feet. Am I smelling moisture? Am I seeing moisture? Those types of things are important in a basement. Using a basement dehumidifier is one of the things that will just help you control moisture and dampness and humidity in a house, and kind of getting rid of that clutter. We all got stuff in the basement that has been there for 20 years. You've never touched it. You don't need it. If it's in a box that's moldy, you don't need it. So there's things that are just down there that don't need to be down there anymore. When I'm going through the living space, I'm looking for a heat source. I'm looking for a light source. I'm looking for things that can hurt me, things that I can step on. Is there a heating duct that's been moved and now it's right in my travel path? If I step on it, I'm going to hurt my foot. again, living space, you're looking for things like black mold. You're looking for water stains that might indicate that you've got a plumbing leak or roof leak. So I'm not looking mostly for cosmetic stuff. You know, I can appreciate nice wallpaper, but I'm looking for stains on the nice wallpaper, looking for mold on the nice wallpaper. So as a home inspector, that's the kind of things that I'm looking for. Um, Kind of going with the living space a little bit as well is there an operable window where you're sleeping, where the client is sleeping? So you want to be able to have some fresh air. Is there a screen on that window to keep pests out? Is there a lock on that window to keep people you don't want coming into the house? So certainly on doors and windows, are they secure, but are they operational? Can I get in and out them properly without any injuries and keeping out um, stuff that I don't want in the house? But certainly fresh air is one of the things that people just need to feel good today. Fresh air and a bit of sun coming through that window, can't beat that, even if you can't get outside. In the attic space, you're not going to go in the attic space, but I'm going to go in the attic space. So first thing I'm looking for is it insulated? How well is it insulated? What's it insulated with? Some products maybe can contain asbestos. That may be a problem, may not be a problem. But from a home inspector standpoint, if it does, then I'm going to make sure that you know about it. Where are the bathroom vents venting to? Where are the kitchen vents venting to? If they're going up into the attic, I'm likely going to see that I've got a mold issue up there. And certainly things like pests. You'll smell a raccoon before you'll see a raccoon, but they tend to poop in the same spot. So, you're looking for signs of mice, raccoons, bats, stuff in the attic that just shouldn't be in the attic and it can cause secondary damage. So we also check appliances. So, when I'm going through the house, there's nothing that I'm doing that's mystery, Mary. Like I'm opening the freezer, is it frozen? I'm opening the fridge, is it cold? I'm turning on the stove, does it get hot? Are the handles working? Is there anything going to fall off of it or cause a problem? If it's a gas stove, is it vented to the outside? Because you don't want those products of combustion just staying in the house. For maintenance items, things like your washing machine, there are filters on those that need to be cleaned, and certainly the dryer venting to the outside. A dryer venting to the inside can really add to moisture issues, mold issues, particulate issues. They got to vent to the outside, and that's a duct that needs to be checked and cleaned, on an annual basis. Emergency shutoffs. We talked about the water, but each of a gas appliance is going to have a shutoff, and if it doesn't have a shutoff, it needs to have a shutoff. So if you have a gas stove, it has to have its own shutoff. A gas fireplace, its own shutoff. Gas water heater, gas furnaces, they all have their own shutoff. Usually they're yellow or red, but it's a good idea to know when things go wrong, how do I shut stuff off? And if you don't know how to do it and you smell gas, you're probably going to call 911 at that point. With a house, are you in Florida, Mary?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm in Whitby, Ontario. So we got snow last night. So there's always seasonal things that you got to look for on your house or kind of schedule in. So caulking around windows, shutting the hose off for the winter time. You have to worry about that, Mary, because you're in Florida, but when we're in Ontario, we got to shut the hose off for the winter time.
I'm here just temporarily, and
okay, I'm just teasing you. So when I'm looking at a house as well, we talked about the HVAC. So where do the plumbing lines run in relationship to heated spaces? So if you have a crawl space with plumbing running through it, you need a heat source of some in there, whether it's a tracer line on the plumbing or an actual heated space. But if you have plumbing running through an unheated space, whether that's a crawl space or an attic or even a basement, that's just Russian roulette, because at some point those pipes are a good chance of freezing. We didn't really talk about fireplaces, but I did one yesterday. It was kind of funny. Guys do crazy things in their garage. So here's a wood stove in a garage, and wood stoves in a garage need special attention anyway. but for some reason, and reasons unknown, there was a drill, a 1-inch drill through the top of the wood stove. So I don't know why that hole would be there. But if you're ever kind of looking for a way to kill yourself, that's not a bad way to do it, because you would have all those products of combustion just coming into the garage. It's not going to go up the chimney. It's coming out the front of the wood stove. So, we had a discussion with the client, just said, listen, this is scrap now. This is not even savable. So do not use this wood stove. And I guess if you have a wood burning fireplace, those require annual service, annual inspection by a qualified contractor. And if you read your insurance policy, a lot of those are, whether you use it or not, they require cleaning, because if you got a fireplace, especially a wood burning fireplace, but even gas fireplaces can get blocked. So if you have a fireplace where you have a fire in your house, that's an important item to have serviced on an annual basis. So there's lots of things that need to be doing on a house, Mary, to kind of keep it safe, but it's doable, So one of the things that we do, and I actually have one on Thursday. So the client owns the house. They actually have a little basement apartment in the house. Doesn't know that much about the house. So we're doing what's called a maintenance schedule. So we're doing a maintenance inspection on the house. At the end of the day, he'll know the condition of the roof, the structure, the electric, the heating and plumbing, when he's doing the next year, when he's doing in the next 3 to 5 years. So if you're staying in your home, maintenance schedule is not a bad idea. And that way it's a party that's not making money off of replacing the roof. So it needs to be replaced. Well, it needs to be replaced. But like I say, having somebody look at it that's not doing roofing is not a bad idea either. So again, we look at all the major components of the house, write a report on it, and then somebody can use that and say, okay, well, listen, the home inspector said this needs to be doing monthly. And we actually have a little checklist that says, you're on a seasonal basis, do this, and we'll even break it down further that, if you need a roof now, it'll say, start getting quotes now. It's due now. So, or, it's still got a little time on it, might need a little roof tune up, but you get another 3 to 5 years. So it is a service that we do. And like I say, as people get gray hair in their head like me, don't want to stay in their house, not a bad idea. Just got a little note there. Okay, that's from you. So, Mary, that's kind of what I got on my list. Is there anything else that you want to go back on or talk about at all?
Well, thank you so much for that, David. That is so insightful. And people need to listen to what you have said, and just even the idea of annual or quarterly or monthly checklists. Every caregiver would love to have that, just as a reminder to say, you know what? I have to think about something that I didn't do last quarter, and I better get at it. So thank you for that. Could you please, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and as a caregiver, your safety and the client safety is really important. So like I say, a missing hand railing on a basement stair, I have lots of people say to me, there hasn't been a hand railing there. We lived here for 30 years. It's never an issue, Mary, till it's an issue. So somebody falls down the stairs, and it's usually going to be the person that hasn't been there for 30 years, that maybe the stairs are a little bit different, and bang, next thing you know, they're at the bottom of the stairs. So certainly things like that would come up in a maintenance schedule, and it would be kind of the safety items that we would say, time to replace a smoke detector, time to replace this hand railing. This hand railing needs to be straightened out. The stairs need to be secured. So certainly something that would come up in an inspection, and from a home inspector standpoint, we would make sure a client knew that, or the homeowner knew that.
Great. And on that note, could you please share your contact information with us?
Yep. So I'm David Wallen with Pillow to Post Home Inspections, and the nice thing about Pillow to Post Home Inspections is they're in North America. So if you're in Florida with Mary, or you're in Ontario with me, or you're out in British Columbia, or you are in St. John's, Newfoundland, Ed Mercer's in St. John's, Newfoundland. So wherever you are, there's a Pillow to Post guy that services that area, or a girl that services that area. So that's kind of the nice thing about Pillow to Post. So, you can find your own inspector in your own area that that is there to kind of help you with this type of thing.
Well, great. And thank you for that. And you know, whether you already have homework as a caregiver, or perhaps you are just thinking and planning for the future, we hope that this video and the attached article will help make your caregiving days just a little bit easier. Thank you, David, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Mary, and thank you, caregivers.
Thank you.